The Rock and Roll and Coffee Show is brought to you by Writers and Rockers Coffee Company, keeping the music and memories alive with some damn good coffee. Be sure to pick up your Rock and Roll and Coffee Show coffee only at writersandrockerscoffee.com. And also brought to you by Retroactive, located at Broadway at the Beach in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, keeping you retro with everything from 70s, 80s, and 90s. Shop retroactive.com.
It's the Rock and Roll and Coffee Show. Yeah, with Joe.
All right, Derek, so you have a new record that is out now. Rome wasn't built in a day.
Yep.
Right?
That's right.
And I've had it for a couple weeks and I've been listening to it. And
Cool.
I got to tell you, it's a really good record, really
Right
good
on.
rock and roll record. When did you start working on this record?
Well, we actually started working on it probably about 6 years ago when we did Revelation Highway on Frontiers. We started demoing songs, getting ready to make another record. And 3 of the songs ended up on this album that we demoed back then, way back then. But, we started doing some touring, and I'd say about 2019, we had a couple more songs that we wrote and started seriously getting ready to go back in the studio and start recording, but then COVID hit and it kind of screwed everything up, especially here in California. Gavin Newsom just shut down everything. So it seemed like 2 years, but maybe it was 18 months or something like that. But it just seemed forever, man. And everybody kind of went their separate ways for a while. I did a couple different albums. I did a blues album. I did a soul album. I played with some other bands and stuff like that. And just we all kind of just went our separate ways for a while. You know what I mean? And then a few years, about 2022, a couple years ago, late 22, we started like reforming again, starting to think about, hey, what about these songs that we wrote, 4 or 5 years ago, and then we started writing more and more and more till we ended up to about 18, 19, 20 songs. So
whose idea was it to come back together to do this record?
I think it was mine. What happened was Tom Mathers, the president of Perris Records, approached me about 1.5 years ago. And he asked me if I had any kind of old demos or if we were writing new songs or what was going on, because he had heard through the grapevine that we were writing again. And I said, well, we don't have nothing, right now, this minute. We are writing some stuff, but I do have some, I told him I did have some live show stuff that we'd recorded, a couple of years before when we were doing Revelation Highway, but I'd never even heard them. I'd never checked them out or listened to them or anything. So I said, I could listen to those and see if they're any good. So I listened to the stuff that we had recorded, and there was 2 shows that sounded really good. They sounded sonically good, and it wasn't a lot of production you had to do. There was hardly no mistakes or anything. It wasn't like we had to do any overdubs or anything. It was like sounded really good. All we had to do is kind of tighten it up and master it, EQ it and things like that. So we put that out as sort of like, hey, Babylon A.D is back. We're coming back on the scene. That type of thing, to give it a teaser for this record. And in the meantime, all we did was keep writing and writing and writing for this album. Rome wasn't built in a day. That's pretty much how it came about.
Mm-hmm. Now, when you recorded, did you record together or was it everybody in different locations? A lot of people do that these days.
Yeah, no, we recorded all together. What happened was we took the drums and we went to a place called 25th Street Studios in Oakland. Really killer, really cool place. We probably could have recorded the whole thing there, but it would have been pretty expensive. I mean, you're talking like the old days, like the Grinder, $400 an hour kind of thing. So our drummer put his tracks down pretty quick. He did 12 songs in 2 days. And then I've got a recording studio where I'm at right now at my house that I've had for, 15 years or so. And so everything I record is right here, except for the drums. I could record drums here, but I'd much rather get that big sound in a big real room. You know what I mean? So we recorded the guitars, the bass, vocals, mixed it, did everything right here.
That's a nice, that's an advantage for you guys. Cause like you said, studio time can be very expensive.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Now, what did you go direct or are you miking amps or how are you doing it these days?
Yeah. It's funny because John Matthews, the guitar player, he wanted to go totally organic mics, just like the old days. Mm-hmm. So that's how way we went. That's how his guitar tone went. But Ron has modeling amps and stuff like that, where to his ear and to my ear too, it sounds just like, it sounds just like he's mic'd his amp. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But Don's saying, no, I want to play live. I want the amp over here in this room, and we're going to record it that way. So he was recorded that way, and Ron was recorded with modeling, like Van Halen, modeling type of amps and things like that. And then of the bass player, we went through his SVT head straight into the board with a little bit of compression. And that's basically the way we did it.
And you were engineering this record?
Yeah, I engineered it and produced it and everything. Yeah, I did everything.
Wow. Okay. It sounds really good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
So have you been doing that for other bands in the past few years?
I've done it for quite a few bands, and I've done about 4 or 5 albums myself. So, and I did the last album, Revelation Highway, here. I did that one here, so I'm pretty much got the NS10s going, and studio is pretty much dialed in. I'm sure I might be able to get better sound somewhere else, maybe in a better studio environment, maybe, but maybe not, because I know my gear's so good now. You know what I mean? Everything's kind of like what your ears hear in trial and error. And over the years, I've just, accumulated a knowledge of the sound, what it sounds like good in here, and to take it out to the car stereo, put it in, the computer, put it in, the telephone, whatever, just to make sure it all sounds pretty decent in each thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The car stereo is the test for me when I'm recording stuff. I go out, if it sounds good out there, then most of the time it sounds pretty good elsewhere.
Yeah. I know. I do the same thing with my truck. I throw in my truck and like, I don't know. I think there's too much low end in that,
Sounds good on these headphones sometimes, but then when I get out there, I'm like, what in the world?
Yeah, right. Exactly.
But
you never know.
But that's fun. So you're releasing it on Perris Records. Now you were with Frontiers. Now, why did you change to Perris with Tom?
Well, we just kind of felt like we needed a boutique kind of label. Tom's more smaller, but he's 100% hands-on, and his people are all 100% focused on Babylon A.D. Frontiers Records, they might have 7-10 artists coming out a month. So you get 4 weeks of their attention, and that's it, So Tom had listened to the demos, and he thought the songs were so strong. He was like, man, I just want to keep working on this and working on this and working on this. This isn't going to be like no 1 month, 2 month, 3 month thing. We're going to keep riding this out as long as we possibly can, because there's a lot of good songs on here. So that's what we've been doing. And it's great working with him because he's a hands-on kind of guy. I talk to him twice a week. We probably email every other day, along with my management and the radio people that are working the record, and the press people that are working the record. So we got a good team with us, man.
Yeah. Tom's a great guy. I've had him on this show. And actually, when he was on the show, he was telling me about your guys' record coming up, which is this one now.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. So yeah, that's a good choice. I mean, he puts us all into it.
Yeah, he's hungry, man. And that's what you need, man. You need guys that are hungry. We're still hungry. We're still having fun. It's not like just let's throw an album out and then go golf. And then that's it. Let's don't do any. A lot of bands do that, and I've done it even with my album before. I spent all this time, 6 months in the studio, writing, recording, and I got this awesome album, and I play it for people now. Wow, this album's great, blah, 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 blah. And then I do no marketing whatsoever because I'm burned out and I want to go to the next thing. You know what I mean? So this album, in my mind anyways, I made a conscious effort to say, no, we got some good songs on here. I want people to hear them, and I'm going to market. I'm going to do press. I'm going to do whatever it takes for people to hear this record.
That's awesome. I think it's a great time too, because the last few years there's been a resurgence in the style of music.
Yeah, seems like
so. I think and with you guys having a new record out and all the options with the festivals and the all those kind of shows, it's a great opportunity for you.
Yeah, I think so.
How important are those big shows, and like the Monsters of Rock and you got Monsters on the Mountain coming up, and there's M3 festivals. How important are those shows for a band like Babylon A.D?
I think they're very important because more people that come around from different parts of the country or even overseas, fans that haven't seen us, they'll go to a show like that, instead of just some club down the street that's over here in Sacramento or something like that. You know what I mean? We do, like when we for instance, when we played the Whiskey just in September, we're playing it again June 7th again. But man, there was people from Amsterdam. There was people, a couple of people from Japan. That, you know, people will go fly if it's a cool place or a cool event. You know, they're going to go to Hollywood. So you get fans from all over the world. You know what I mean? Instead of just your backyard. You know?
Yeah, yeah. Now, being on Perris Records with Tom, does he give you total control of how this record's going to be represented, or
100% total control. Yeah, which is really cool. Of course, if we had a stinker on there or something where the rest of the band thought it was great, and he's like, I don't know. Well, he'd let us know.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
sure.
But we had plenty of songs to choose from. Like I said, we had about 18, 19, 20 songs to choose from. And some of those other songs are really, really good. But it got down to the point where, don't we want to have a couple really great songs for the next album already knowing that we've got
Right.
those? You know what I mean? It's, you know,
Right.
that was kind of our thinking. It's like, wow, you know, this could be a gym on almost every song, but you know, we got a couple really, really good songs. Maybe we should hold them back for the next album, you know?
Right. I think you got what, 11 on this record?
Yeah, there's 11 on this one.
11
Yeah.
songs. Okay. Okay. Wait, how did you meet Tom?
I met Tom about 20 years ago. I think we did American Blitzkrieg together and Live in Your Face. And then he invited me down to a show that he was doing in Las Vegas. And that's how we actually physically met, you know, and hung out and strategized and stuff like that, you know. And, you know, we had a label called Apocalypse Records. And so, but he had the distribution, which we didn't, you know, at the time. That was about 6 or 7 years after the band had been dropped from the major labels. You know what I mean? But we still had some songs that we were writing and things. It was like, well, what are we going to do with this? You know, if you remember around 2000, man, the record industry was just flat dead, especially for bands like us.
Yeah.
You know, it was basically, we were in the coffin. You know what I mean? So if we want to put anything out, you better find somebody that could just be a distributor for you. You know, Tom had the distribution and the backing and things like that, you know, to help us keep moving. So I've known him for quite a while, man.
Okay. Okay. Now, was this always going to be a full record? You know how, you know, sometimes people release just singles, you know, and go that route, but was this always planned to be a full record?
Always. And we could have released singles and just, my wife always asked me, why don't you just release singles like everybody else? I go, because I didn't grow up like that, man. You know, I like to sit there and listen to an album or a CD and look at the lyrics and look and, you know, get in depth at the thing. You know, I get the whole, you just listening to it on your computer or your headphones through your computer or your phone or whatever, but that doesn't, to me, give me the full experience of what a record is about. I think a record should encapsulate the whole, you know, all the parts of what you're kind of feeling for that year or whatever that you're working on. You know, when I think back about listening to old Led Zeppelin or Leonard Skinner or Aerosmith, how those albums like changed my life. If it would have just been one song hearing for the speaker, I might have just heard it for 20 times and, you know, that was it, you know, but it wouldn't have meant anything in my life, you know? So I still look at it that way, you know, that I think as an album is like a work of art, kind of like a long movie instead of a short commercial.
Well, sure. I mean, you got to take into consideration the sequencing and everything else. I mean, was that how long does that take you to get that the way you want it?
Yeah. See, that's another thing people don't think of. And I've always thought of it though, but a lot of people don't even put that in consideration. They're just still like what they think is the best songs right up front. And then the rest can be whatever. But I kind of think of it like as a journey, you know, ups and downs, like when we do a set, you know, you're not going to throw 3 ballads right at the very beginning of the set. You're going to bore the shit out of everybody. You know what I mean? You need peaks and valleys, you know, and maybe even the lyrical content you want different enough changed in between songs so that you get different feelings and different emotions. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that it used to be a big decision on that, you know, but now everything's digital.
It's a big decision. I don't think anybody puts too much thought into it anymore.
Well, speaking of set lists, you mentioned set lists are like that. How about touring for this record? What are the plans for this?
Yeah, so we've had 5 gigs lined up for about, I don't know, 3 or 4 months, but now we just pulled in 4 more last week. So that's a total of 9. We've got Texas coming up. We've got Salt Lake City, Denver, Florida. We've got some stuff in Europe. All this stuff is starting to happen at the same exact time as a record comes out. And maybe it's, everybody's aware, or they've heard some of the tracks like you have, and maybe you're an agent for this or a promoter or whatever, and you're like, whoa, Babylon A.D is back, that's kind of thing. So it's slowly building up. We've got August is totally 100% booked up already every single weekend. So uh, yeah, we're going to be out there, man. You know what I mean? We're going to promote as long as we can, and just keep chugging along, you know?
Hmm. Now, a lot of bands these days are doing the fly-in dates. Is that what you guys are doing? Not going out like on a bus up for 2 months, 3 months?
No, we are doing, yeah, we are doing like weekend warrior things. That's what we call them. You know what I mean? It's a lot easier. You know, it's hard to play on a Sunday or a Monday night somewhere. It's not the same as it was 30 years ago when no matter what night you went out, there was a scene. You know, we're all older cats now. You know, it's not like we're 20 years old, 18 years old, and can do it till 2 o'clock in the morning every 7 nights a week anymore. You know what I mean?
Things don't get easier.
No, sucks.
Um, Talk a little bit about, let's go back a little bit to like when you first got into music, because you started on drums, is that correct?
Yeah, I started on drums when I was about third grade or something like that. You know, I liked the Monkees. That was my favorite
The
band. I wanted to be
Monkees.
like,
Okay.
yeah, I wanted to be Peter Dolan's. You know, that's who I wanted to be. I wanted to be that guy. I wanted to sing like him. I wanted to look like him. I wanted to play like him. I mean, I was wearing clothes like him if I could do it whenever I went to school, and people thought I was kind of a little bit freaky, you know. But um, and then as time went on, you know, I started. I read a lot. I read a lot when I was a kid about biographies. You know, I'd read like whoever, like Led Zeppelin biography or the Rolling Stones on the. You know, I'd read anything that had to do with music. I'd read, and I Beatles. You know, I started finding out like, and everybody that makes money and stays in the business is songwriters, and they're guitar players or they're singers. So I could be a drummer, but I'm going to be in the background. You know, and I have ADHD. I've always had it. You know what I mean? So, I mean, you couldn't keep me back there. I had to get up in front. You know?
Okay.
So,
And then, so when did you realize that you could sing though? Because that, I mean, were you just singing it each day and be like, I'm pretty good?
my
Or,
mom is an excellent singer. She used to sing around the house when we were kids. I mean, from the time I maybe 2 years old, I don't know, but she would sing all like Dean Martin, Engelbert Humperdinck, you know, Frank Sinatra. She'd sing all the background, you know, all that stuff throughout the house, all the time, all day long, you know. And then when I was a kid, if you, I don't know if you remember this, but there was a thing in the magazine where you could get 13 records, I think it was, for 10 cents.
oh yeah,
13 albums for
I
10
did that a
cents.
few times.
So my mom would let me and my sister pick whatever we want. And, you know, I'm picking the Rolling Stones and Simon and Garfunkel and the Beatles, Let It Be. And she's picking, you know, her things, and my sister's picking her things. And then we just sit and listen to the albums just all the time. And I would try to sing like Mick Jagger, or I'd try to sing like this guy or that guy, you know. And then when I got in high school, I started getting really serious, writing and playing guitar. And I was in my bedroom. I had a notebook. And if I didn't practice like 8 hours every single day, like a job, then I felt like I was a failure. So I'd write down, you know, okay, from 8 to 10, 2 hours, and then maybe I'd take a break, come back, 9:30 to this, or you know, until it got at least 8 hours, you know. And I'd cut school and I'd just sit in my room and play guitar. And all my friends thought I was friggin' crazy because that's all I did. I wouldn't even go to school, you know. I just play guitar, dream out of my mind, you know. And I'd listen to Montrose and Aerosmith, and you know, I'd try to sing like Steven Tyler and you know, Sammy Hagar and John Waite, whatever, you know, or Robin Zander. I would try to copy them. And, you know, I'd just sit there in front of the mirror singing and just goofing around, but, you know, air guitaring before I even knew I was really air guitaring, you know what I mean? But I was, you know, I was determined, man.
I used to do the same thing.
So, you know.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're
Be
talking
somebody.
about. Now on the new record, your voice sounds fantastic still.
Thanks, man.
And
Appreciate that.
I don't know how many takes that, I don't know if you're a one take, two take guy,
Uh-huh.
or if you're going line by line, but whatever you're doing, it sounds great.
No, years ago when I, like the first couple albums, well, the first album was like, man, it was one of the worst experience I ever had for singing. And that's because all the demos that I had done up to there, and I'd done one record before that, I would sing like, let's say there's a verse starts a song and there's 4 lines. I would sing the first 4 lines at least, go till I made a mistake, and then try to find out, well, maybe I should change this or that. And then on our first album, Simon Hanhart came from the Def Leppard school of recording, and it was like 1 line at a time, man. That's it. And him and I went row and, over and over again, just like, man, this ain't, I wanted to have emotion and stuff like that,
Yeah.
And then by about the 5th song, I was so stubborn, I kind of went out where I just said, just let me sing the freaking song, man, the whole thing, and then cut what you want. But I don't want to just sing, here we sit, here we sit, here we sit, here we sit, smoky bar, smoky bar, smoky bar, smoky. Just like, how the hell you want it, man? It drive you crazy.
How do you even get into a song when you're doing it that way?
You don't. That's what I mean. You feel like a freaking robot because all you're worried about is making sure you sing just exactly on pitch and on key. And you're not worried, and you're not trying to do any kind of inflections or any soulful stuff or whatever. I still cringe when I hear some of the songs on the album just because I remember,
What songs were recorded like that? Do you remember? I have it right here.
Desperate was recorded like that. Sure. Oh, yeah.
Bit.
Yeah.
I can't read the inside though. It's too small now. My eyes aren't the same.
It's probably 8 point.
It's like 2. You can't even see it.
Funny.
But yeah, what songs were recorded like that?
Remember? I remember Desperate was recorded like that. I think maybe
really
Got Up in the Crossfire. I think there was about 4 songs before I just kind of put my foot down and just said, man, I can't take it anymore, man. You just got to let me go, And he did. Yeah. And then I sang like 5 songs in 2 days. Before that, I was singing a song a friggin' week, it seemed like.
Yeah.
I was pretty, it was like it was a learning curve, and then, but, to be honest with you, my voice wasn't as good as it is now. I didn't have as much control as I do now. When I sing now, I'll just sing probably at least half the song or get up to the bridge and go, well, let me listen to that back. Let me see what I get. You know what I mean? I know a lot of guys, most everybody that I know nowadays, they'll get to the verse, they'll stop. Okay, that sounds good. Then they'll go to the chorus. They'll sing the chorus. Let's say there's 4 lines of the chorus. You know what I mean? Hammer swings down, whatever it may be. And then they'll just fly that in the rest of the time.
It's so easy to do.
I never do that. Never, ever. I always sing. Every single line is its own individual line. I just kind of think that's a little cheating. Maybe I'm singing the same exact chorus melody-wise, but if anyone was a real listener, they could hear my inflections change, maybe a word shorter or whatever, even though it may be a big chorus.
Yeah, you're not going to sing it exactly the same every time.
Never. Even though you're trying to, kind of, especially on a chorus. If you're singing "Bang Go the Bells," you want everything to be kind of perfect. But I think that the organic stuff is the best. And I don't like this AI stuff that everybody's pulling out now.
I was going to ask you about that because Wrecking Machine is kind of about AI, but
it is about
not music AI, but
yeah.
Well, I mean, what's your thoughts with music and AI?
Well, I don't like it at all, man. I think it less personalized the music, and I think it's cheating. I think it's the lazy way out. I mean, you can have an 86-year-old grandfather and a 7-year-old kid write a hit song just by telling the damn thing what to do, And I know people don't realize it, but it's true. And I did not know this till about maybe 3 weeks ago. A friend of mine who's a songwriter tested it out on 2 different songs, and he sent me the songs, and I swear, man, I could not believe it. They were pretty good songs, and he just told the thing told the AI what he wanted. I want a G chord and a C chord and a D chord. I want a 120 tempo. I want this and that. I want lyrics that mean this. I want the chorus to sing about AI. Man, the whole thing was like, AI is going to take over the world. You better watch out, you rock and rollers, but it was like a beat chorus, like a Kiss thing.
Yeah.
And whoever they took the voice from, it was like a good hard rock voice, like Mark Slaughter's voice or something. They kind of sounded like.
Yeah.
And I'm listening to this going, are you kidding me? You mean you actually didn't do nothing, but just tell this AI what to do? He said, I swear to God, I didn't do anything.
How do you know
I'm
how
like,
that
that's
works?
crazy.
Like, I don't even know how, I don't even know where to go to try to do that. How does it work? Do you know?
He there's sites on there now on the websites, man. You know, they'll probably charge you $30 when the song's done. You know, there's so much stuff now on the AI stuff. I did just a little bit of research after he told me that, but his thing was, you know, I've been a songwriter a long time. I really never really wrote a hit song. I don't have a recording studio like you do. And man, I would love to write a hit song. And the licensing that you do with the AI still keeps it yours. So you could still say it's his. You know what I mean? And so him and I had a little bit of row, and we're good friends. And I'm saying, dude, you're just cheating, man. You know, you're cheating. He go, well, you can look at it like that, but from my point of view, you know, that kind of thing. I'm like,
Mhm.
no, there is no point of view on that side, man. You're cheating.
Yeah.
Anybody could cheat. You know what I mean?
I
So
wonder if we'll ever find a middle point, you know?
probably because
Because at some point, I think
like,
we're going to have to embrace it.
yeah, well, that was it's funny because that's what the song, the lyrics were kind of about.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you're gonna have to embrace it within, you know, a few years from now. We're basically gonna be dinosaurs, you know, because every band's gonna be using it. You know what I mean? And maybe there's some good about it. I don't see it. I don't know. I just think that anybody that's that lazy that can't wake up in the morning and write their own lyrics that they thought of
Mm-hmm.
and write their own melody that they thought of, then they're not really a creative person. They're just
Mm-hmm.
filling in the dots. Like if I gave you a picture, you know, when you're a little kid
Yeah.
and there's all the colors and there's all the dots and the numbers where to go. And you go, look at what I did, mom. Oh, you're a damn Rembrandt. Well, yeah, I painted a Rembrandt. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't mean you thought of shit.
Yeah. Do you think that new Motley song is AI? People saying that? I don't know, but
So from what I have heard, and I don't know if it's true or not, but I heard that Bob Rock was the one who said yes, he used AI on the song. It's one of the first songs, 3 songs. This is what I've heard through
uh-huh.
the grapevine. And when I listen to the song, I think that the verses myself, when I listen to it, because I'm thinking about my friend's song after I heard the Motley Crue song, I said, man, that song sounds very similar to the Motley Crue thing, you know?
Hmm.
Now I don't know if the chorus is AI because I could definitely hear Vince's voice,
Mm-hmm.
you know? But when the verses are going and everything, yeah, it really don't sound like Motley Crue to me, and it
Hmm.
doesn't sound like Vince at all to me, to my
Yeah.
ear.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's like an octave lower than his voice. I don't know of any song that he's ever sang like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Hmm. Yeah, I
so
don't
I
know.
don't know. I mean, I kind of think the song's pretty cool. I love the video. The video is badass.
I haven't seen the
But,
video. I gotta check it out.
yeah,
I
but they
didn't care for the song that much. So I
yeah, I
didn't.
didn't think the song's okay. You know, you would think if Motley Crue's going to come back, that it's going to be like, wow, man. You know what I mean?
I was
But
so excited when I heard, but then I was like,
yeah, I was kind of disappointed in the song too. I listened to it 3 times just to make sure I wasn't going crazy. But I was like, it's just I don't even remember it right now.
Yeah.
Usually I hear a song 3 times, I'll at least know. I listened to Sebastian Bach's brand new song today, Freedom, 1 time, and I'm like, wow, this is a good song.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is a really cool song. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I mean, I remember the title, Freedom. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's a pretty cool video. Lead guitar was just smoking, burning. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I didn't hear that from Motley Crue.
Yeah.
Not to say I'm not a Motley Crue fan. Motley Crue fans.
You're not a Motley fan?
No, I'm not to say that I'm not. You know,
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. That was my band
I
back
like
in the day.
especially their early stuff, and I like the John Corabi stuff a lot too.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I don't sit and listen to it all the time. I mean, I probably haven't listened to it in 20 years.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I don't even really listen to any kind of music, hard rock stuff, except for a few bands, maybe Godsmack, Monster Magnet, thing. You know, most of the stuff I listen to, believe it or not, are like stuff I grew up with when I was a kid. You know, Bob Dylan,
Yeah.
Simon Garfunkel. You
Well,
know?
your solo
like that.
stuff was more bluesy, soulful, bluesy stuff.
Yeah, I've done a couple blues albums.
Mm-hmm.
I like the blues stuff. I like the Elmore James, Sun House, and stuff like that. The authentic old blues stuff. So, some of the songs I tried to create that when I did the blues stuff. And then I like all the soul stuff too. I mean, I love like Bobby Womack and Isley Brothers and James Brown, Al Green, Marvin Gaye. I love that. I really love that kind of stuff. And I've got some songs that I might release pretty soon with the Revolutionary Souls. That, man, it's just funky. It's badass. Kind of like Dan Reed's Network. How it had a kind of soulful thing, but still lead guitars and stuff. B3 organs and everything. Sounds like old Detroit mixed with funk. Cool.
I heard your what Moonshine, I believe it was.
Moonshine,
You did in 2014 or so, right around there. Tell me a little bit about that, because that sounds like an interesting thing. How did you get involved with that and Michael Anthony?
Yeah, that was badass. So that was a real fun project. So after Babylon A.D. Lost our record deal, or was about to lose our record deal, I think it was around 93. I was producing a band at a recording studio, and it had Green Day was practicing there and a couple other bands. So it was a practice place and a recording studio. It was real big, kind of like SIR Studios, but it had a couple recording studios. And one of the cats said, "Hey man, you should go down there and try out for this new band." I go, "What new band?" "Well, they got Michael Anthony backing them, and the guys are this guy, that guy." I go, "Yeah, I heard of that guy. He's really good." Yeah. They've been having singers coming out here for the last couple of weeks. And, so I seen one of the guys in the hallway, went out, and I said, "Hey, you guys still looking for a singer?" "Yeah, you want to come down?" "Yeah, I'll be down there." So I went down there and I basically kind of auditioned them in a way, because I said, "Show me what you got."
Right.
And they played some songs and I went, there's some, out of about 5 or 6 songs that they had, there was about 3 of them that were really good, just some music. And I got up there and I just started off the top of my head making shit up. And within an hour, we had a couple songs. It was kind of like magic. It was like, okay, we're a band. It's like automatic. And then Michael Anthony came the next day and he wanted to check me out, and he was like, "Holy shit, yeah, this is gonna work." So that's kind of how that came about. We really didn't have a name or an idea what we're going to be, but Buzzy James is a really cool, slick slide guitar player. He's badass. He's like a Dwayne Allman. He's got his cowboy hat, and he just looks different than the rest of all of us rockers. You know what I mean? He looked like he was straight out of, Leonard Skinner or the Allman Brothers or something. And then the keyboard player, Mike Malone, is a Hell's Angel playing B3 organ, and it's just like, okay. And they've got kind of like a Southern style, and the rest of the band kind of had like a rock style, and I'm like, within 2 weeks, it was like, we're going to change our name and we're going to be an Allman Brothers. Leonard, we're going this way. We're going to go to this bluesy way over here, because Buzzy can play slide guitar great. And we kind of got rid of the stuff, anything that sounded like hard rock stuff. We kind of got rid of that a little bit. And we just took stuff that had lots of slide, lots of piano, and just kind of went that way, And then it was a really cool ride, man. And, we'd play out, and Zach Wilde would come and play with us, or James Lomenzo, or Michael Anthony would play with us all the time. Sammy Hagar. Speaking of which, I just found this picture the other day. Hey, that's us in Cabo Wabo. That's Moonshine in Cabo Wabo.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
I just found that the other day. I go, oh, I remember that picture. This was like 20 years ago.
Fun.
Yeah.
Now, did you know Michael or no?
I didn't know him, but Craig did. Craig was his bass tech. Craig DeFalco was his bass tech. So, and then the guys in Metallica, they got interested in us and they started managing us for a little while, So it seemed like the band was headed in the right direction. We were getting record companies coming down, seeing the band. But to be honest with you, the guys kept changing the drummers, man. It was like that exploding drummer thing.
Oh no.
Like Spinal Tap. I mean, we must have went through 5 drummers in about a year.
What was there a reason?
To this day, I don't know why, man, because every single drummer that we had was great. And we had Daryl something from Killer Dwarfs at one time. And then another time we had the drummer for Rat, what's his name?
Bobby Blotzer.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. He was playing with us for a little while, and it was like, and I lived in the Bay Area and the rest of the guys lived in LA. Yeah. So I would fly down there like when we weren't playing a gig, like once a month to practice, and I'd show up, there'd be a new drummer.
You had no idea.
No, I know they wouldn't even tell me. Then one time I go up there, then we had a new bass player. And another time
no.
we had a new keyboard player, a Sass Jordan's keyboard player instead of Mike Malone. And I thought the band was this guy, Mike Malone and Larry. To them, those two guys were the band in my mind. You know what I mean? This is the sound. Now, you just took part of the sound. I got kind of pissed off. We played a gig at the Whiskey and I just kind of said, nah, you know, I think I'm done with this project, you know. I kind of wish I wouldn't, you know what I mean? I wouldn't have done that because it was such a good project, but it just seemed like there was a lot of drama going on. And Van Halen was real, they were going through their non-alcoholic period.
Mm-hmm.
So anytime we went and hung out with those guys, or anytime we went to, we recorded a lot of stuff over at Eddie's house. There was no alcohol allowed. There was no, you know, they didn't even want us to, even if we played a gig, you know, it was like, just because they're associated with us, they don't want us doing none of that stuff. And to me, I thought that was just so childish and stupid. Just because Eddie's got a problem or whoever's got a problem, the rest of us got to suffer. I like to party.
Even if they weren't around?
Even if they weren't around, even in practice.
Yeah, that's odd.
No, you can't be drinking because if you know, Eddie comes in or whoever, somebody from the crew comes in and sees you and it gets back to, you know, it's kind of stupid. And maybe that only lasted for a couple months, but that kind of was in your psyche. Like, I thought it was ridiculous. You know,
who was making these decisions?
I think mainly it was Craig. You know, Craig's a great guy. Don't get me wrong, man. And he's been with Van Halen forever. You know, I think he's with the part of the Stone Temple Pilots guys or something like that right now. I can't remember, but you know, doing road crew stuff for them, the guitar stuff. He's a great guitar player too, and a good songwriter. But he was really good. You know, he'd been with Van Halen for a long time, and maybe he was just in his mind a little paranoid. He didn't want us to screw it up because they were actually saying they were going to take us out on tour and things like that. Motley Crue was supposed to take us out on tour, you know, so it was looking really well, you know, and and what I'd heard, you know, was like something like, well, that's why we had to fire Mike, because Mike Malone, the keyboard player, because he wasn't following the orders of no drinking, because Mike was a Hell's Angel. You're not going to stop him from drinking and partying.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, okay. And I don't want to slack any of those guys, because I got to tell you, man, that was a great band, great songs, great people in the band. And I think I should have, looking back now, I wish I would have stuck it out with them and just, you know, bit the bullet, you know, at the time. It just seemed like there was just a lot of drama just going around. And one day I just said, fuck it, I'm out. I'm going to do something else, you know?
With Babylon A.D, let's go back to the first record there. When that came out, that was the late 80s, I believe it was, like 88 or 89 right in there.
Yeah, October 29th, right before Halloween of 89, yeah.
Desperate, that song never got released as a single. Do you think that was the nail in the coffin for you guys to take that next step?
Yeah, I actually do. I think that was the biggest mistake that Arista made, and basically ruined the band, really. Our chances at getting anywhere, because when I wrote that song and then I took it to Jack Pawnee, and it was basically all done, but he was like, man, that's a really good song, but let's make the chorus bigger. And of course, you know, he's from the Bon Jovi school. So pretty soon the chorus was bigger than it was, fuller and fatter, and you know, the arrangement was a little bit different than the way I had it. And then we demoed it and gave it to Clive, and Clive was like, man, this song is great. This is Dream On, you know, blah, blah, you know. And every time I'd see Clive, he'd talk about the song. Derek, I'm going to make you guys the next Aerosmith, blah, blah, blah. You know, so that was in your ear, like a little earworm, like, wow, Clive really loves this song, you know. We're going to go far with this. And so we sat down with Clive at the Beverly Hilton, I think it was, in Los Angeles, with the AR guy, and we just kind of partied one night. It was kind of weird, man, like being in a movie or something, because here's Clive Davis and here's the band, and maybe one or two A&R guys, and all we're doing is kind of hanging out and partying, eating, drinking, and we're listening to the record.
Everybody
player real loud.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? At the like the Beverly Hilton or whatever it is, you
Sounds
know?
great.
It was great. You know, it's like kind of felt like you were in some kind of movie or something. And we're picking the songs with Clive Davis. What song's gonna be the first single? What song gonna be second single? What's one's gonna be the third single? He's like, we're 4 or 5 deep on this one, boys. What's gonna be the, you know what I mean? So we were really excited, and you know, we thought Desperate was gonna be number 3. That was what Hammer Swings Down was gonna come out and introduce the band. Bangle the Bells was gonna be our rock hit anthem. Desperate was going to take us over the top with the for the ballads, because a lot of ballads were starting to be played on the radio right there.
Well, that's why I was asking, because at that time, I think I remember you came out in '89. Heaven by Warrant came out in '89. You know,
Right.
Poison started all that, I think,
Yeah,
in
I think
'88
so.
with Every Rose.
Every Rose.
But then
right.
'89 had everybody else put their ballads out, and they all stepped up.
Yeah, and they all were successful.
And you
And
guys had that great ballad that would have fit perfect with the rest of that stuff, and it
Yep.
never happened.
Yeah. So what kind of what did kill it was so Orion Pictures got a hold of our management and the record label and said, look, we want to do Kid Goes Wild, and we'll use the band in a video for a trailer for the movie, and we'll pay for the video. So it was like, for Eris, it was like, shit, it's a no-brainer. We're paying $100,000 for a friggin' video. We don't got to pay shit. They'll pay for everything, and you know, this will give a little boost to the band, you know, for the Robocop movie. So we did that, waiting, thinking like, okay, well, we just put Desperate on the back burner, right? But you got to remember, 3 singles deep now. You're talking about a year later after the album's out.
Yeah.
Now it's a whole year. Now it's almost 1991, you know? And so that the Kid Goes Wild thing ran its course for maybe, 3 months. Usually everything ran about 3 months, you know? And then we go back to the label and go, okay, now we're ready to conquer the world with Desperate. And they say, you know, the album's been out a year now. The A&R guys are kind of, and the radio guys are kind of burned out.
Oh,
We've been talking. We kind of think that we should just start working on the next record. Oh my God. You talk about just like getting kicked right in the teeth, man. That's what it felt like.
What was your reaction? I mean, did you put up a little fight about that, or did you just say, okay?
Good. I even, my manager said, shit, man, this is such a good song, Derek. You know, screw Arista. We'll put up our own money up, and I'll get some radio promotions, you know what I mean, while you guys are writing the next thing. So he tried his best. You know, I think we gave about $10,000 to some radio programmer guys, and it got some airplay in quite a few places, but we didn't make a video for it. The record label wasn't behind it. So we were kind of, even though we were signed to the record label, we were kind of trying to show them like, look, we'll do it without you. You know what I mean? If we have to, you know, maybe that pissed them off too. You know,
The Kid Goes Wild wasn't even a big hit, was it?
not really. No,
Yeah.
I think it got to like 83 on the radio charts or something like that, you know. You know, the video was okay. I mean, you know, a lot of people know us for that song though, you know, that are
Really? I would think Bang Goes the Bells was the.
Yeah, I know,
song.
but a lot of people, just from my experience on YouTube and different things from Facebook and over the years, you know, people that are into those kind of movies, you know, remember us from that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Interesting story. That's a shame when I hear those kind of stories.
Yeah, it
It's
sucked,
like,
man. Just I mean, you only write a few of those kind of songs in your life if you're lucky, you
Yeah.
know. And I felt that I had achieved that, even though I didn't like the vocal performance that I did. Everybody else liked it, and they didn't seem to mind, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
Well, I mean, I think you captured it. However you recorded it, you ended up capturing.
well, I think I remember
feel
saying
for
the
that.
word "sit" about 250 times.
You had to get
All
that
by
right.
itself. Sit, 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 sit.
You're
Sit.
driving all the dogs around you crazy. Oh man. So, and then the next record, is that when you worked with Werman?
Yeah, Tom Werman. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
How was that experience?
It was awesome, man. Tom was a total different cat than Simon Hanhart was, our first producer. You know, Simon was a great guy, but you know, and he had his way of doing it. But Tom was kind of like, by the time that Tom came in, we had all of our songs demoed. We had all of our songs tight. I mean, tight. He came to our practice twice and watched us practice about 15 songs. And he went, I don't even know why I'm sitting here for. He came with a notepad, like maybe
Yeah.
change the bridge or gonna change the chorus or whatever, gonna arrangement. And he was like, you guys got it under control. I mean, but by that time we were really tight. And we had the experience with Simon Hanhart when making our first album. We were in the studio for about a month before we started making our first album. And it was just stripping songs apart, putting them back together, strip them apart, put them back together, arrange them different styles until, oh, this fits better than this, that kind of thing. 8 hours a day, 6 days a week. You know what I mean? So by the time that Tom Werman was working with us, we already had all the songs tight as you could get them, and all the arrangements, they seem pretty great,
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Because that's what I've had Tom on the show as well. And he was telling me that he doesn't touch any knobs. He just sits back and
yeah,
kind of,
yeah, it's what he does. He kind of sits like this, like I'm doing now, but he closes his eyes. Got his pad. He's got his pencil. Oh, Eddie, can you change that one thing there? Look.
he's got the job.
Yeah, he's got a killer job. Then
Yeah. But I mean, if you guys already did it, I mean, yeah, really. I mean, what's he going to do?
Well, he's that's a good question. he had a big chalkboard that kind of kept everything organized,
Yeah.
Day drums, Tuesday bass, or whatever, that kind of thing. And the hours, 4 to 8, guitar rhythm for psychedelic sex reaction, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, I guess that's a compliment though, right? If he didn't have to do a lot of rearranging.
Yeah, well, right. I don't think we hardly did any rearranging at all. I don't remember anything that we rearranged. And Tom, he was the one that I had wanted to record with since I was a kid. Because when I was a kid, I'd turn over, Ted Nugent. Tom Werman produced this. Wow. Cheap Trick. Wow. You know what I mean? All the albums I love, it was Tom Werman. So on even our first album, they said, who do you want to produce? We said, Tom Werman, on
the first one.
Yeah. Well, he's doing Motley Crue, Girls, Girls, Girls right now. So you can't do that, or whatever it may be what he was working on. Well, when is he available? He's not available for another year. We waited for Tom a good 6 months to make the second album. That was another reason it took so long, because we waited for his schedule to be open, because we wanted to work with him so bad, and he was great. And he was funny. He had he'd have parties at his house. He was still living the hedonistic rock and roll style, man. He's a crazy dude. And on Friday nights, we used to call him Coconut Tom, because on Fridays, like about 6 o'clock, he'd strip down to like his shorts. He'd start getting fucked up, and he'd go in a room and have like chicks come over and shit, massage him and everything. He'd come out there and he smelled like coconut. So we call him Coconut Tom.
I don't want to know what was going on with coconut.
Yeah, I know. It was funny as shit, because the studio, all of a sudden, about 8 o'clock at night to about 3 o'clock in the morning, the studio would just become like, I don't know if we were paying for the studio time or not, but it would just become like a frat house, a bunch of guys getting fucked up and having a fun time and people partying.
Oh,
and
man,
Tom would peek out every once in a while smelling like coconut, so we called him Coconut Tom.
If I ever talk to him again, I'm gonna have to mention that too.
Yeah, he didn't like that though. He'd get mad at us.
Oh man. So back to the new record. Let's talk about Rome Wasn't Built in a Day again. The videos for it. Now, you did these videos, correct? Yourself? You edited?
Yeah, I've been doing videos for about maybe 15, 12 years, something like that now. A lot of trial and error before I got to where I was confident to say, you know what? Yeah, I mean, I did all the last 5 videos for the first album on Frontiers that we did, Revelation Highway. I did the live videos. I did videos for myself. I like to do different types of videos. Everybody can just do a live video. That's not hard at all. Or a performance video. Those aren't hard. Or just think of an idea and hey, I want everybody to do this. But I watch a lot of movies and things like that, and I always have, so in my mind, a song is like a movie. So I want to kind of tell a song like a movie. So sometimes people say, you use a lot of movie clips in your, yeah, I do, but I'm trying to tell a story with those clips, or, I try to be experimental as I possibly can, try to be different. I look at a lot of different videos and see stuff that I like. Oh, I got to remember that kind of shot. I like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. the songs mean more to you that you're producing them and engineering them and making the videos? Is it mean more to
Absolutely.
you?
Yeah, because especially the songs that like say like Rome wasn't built in a day. I wrote the whole damn thing, you know,
Mm,
from the first chord to the first melody to, everything. You know what I
great
mean?
song. Hmm.
So, and so then I just finished the video. It's coming out on Saturday, you know, and it's a killer video. Um, so it's like a whole progression of one song might be 3 months of my life, really. You know what I mean? So I'm vested in that song, you
Hmm.
know. Other songs that I don't think are that great, or not that they're not great, but it's like you have a lot of children, let's just say, and some of them are
Hmm.
a little bit uglier than other ones.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Okay. Okay. Well, I think it's a great record. I think the fans are going to enjoy it. Wrecking Machine, I liked. Pain, I got them written down here. Rome wasn't built in a day.
mhm.
Um, Looking for a Heartbeat. I thought that
Yeah,
sounded like old school Babylon AD.
yeah, that's pretty much like a Shot of Love type of riff. Like Ron writes a lot of that kind of melodic kind of guitar stuff.
Hmm. Crashed into the Sun, and then I thought Face of God was a great song.
Yeah, Face of God. That's definitely going to be. I don't know if it. I don't know. We might try to push it to Christian radio. A lot of people are already asking us about that.
Really?
Yeah, just because it has such a deep meaning, and we've already got video ideas for it and everything like that. We're definitely going to work on that one. Put that one out as at least do a video. We're probably going to do a single too. But that's down the line. I think
Hmm.
this album has enough depth to keep going for a few months. Uh, for a year. That's what I
Yeah.
would say. Like the old days. If we had a record where there was only two great songs and the rest are okay, I wouldn't say that. But I think we have about 5 songs deep on this album that are like really good, you know,
Nice.
extraordinary. That's my opinion. Of
Hmm.
course, I'm biased because I wrote all the lyrics and everything.
Right. And then you said you had a bunch of songs that were really good that you didn't put on the record. So I'm assuming there will be a second record
Yeah.
down the road.
Yep. We're always, the guys and I sat down and we had a long discussion after we had these songs that we demoed that we didn't put on the record.
Hmm.
And we've got about maybe 3 to 4 of those songs that are already picked out. We know we're going to go on the next record,
Hmm.
but it's like, keep writing, keep writing, keep writing. Don't just stop and we're going to go on tour and we're going to do that. And then when it comes time to make the album, let's start writing again. No, just keep going. Ron's already gave me a couple different ideas. John said he's got a couple. I've already got 3 songs in the can. So when this one starts slowly fading into the sunset, we'll get on our horse and put the next one out.
That's awesome. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Glad to hear that.
Yeah. It's fun, man. It's like the best golf game or basketball game you could play when you're, over 50.
It's got to feel good to be getting back out there again.
It is, man. Because there's been peaks and valleys. Sometimes I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to do any kind of thing with Babylon A.D. because I was so into soul or I was so into this. Like, put that on the back burner. But it's always been there. You know what I mean? It's always been like, well, when do I want to go do that pickup game? Well, right now I'm doing that in my life. Maybe for the next 2 years I'll do that, and then I'll throw out something different.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think there's a want for it. So it's a great time to do it.
Yep, it is, man. I think it's a perfect time right now with the music seems to be crawling back just enough.
Mm-hmm. Sure. So where can people pick this up? Of course, all digital formats, but if they want the physical copy, where can they go to get that?
Well, they can get a physical copy at Amazon.com. They can go to eBay.
Okay.
They can go to Perris Records. It's everywhere now.
Mm-hmm.
Everywhere.
Cool.
Yeah. Tom's got great distribution, worldwide distribution now. Any person could go get it in Japan. And we have albums coming out too. They're being made right now. Albums take about, shoot, man, they take almost 2 months to get made.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
it will be on vinyl. Okay.
It'll be on. Yeah, it'll be on vinyl, but we probably won't have those for about another month.
Okay. I'm going to have to pick that up. I picked up the CD. It's not here yet though. It should be here this week, but
cool.
I'll definitely pick it up on vinyl.
No, man.
All right, Derek. Well, listen, man, it's been an honor to talk to you. It's I wish you best of luck on the release.
I like those basses back there, man.
Yeah, they're Well, there's two Spectres here, one here, a little
Uh-huh.
beat up, but
Yeah.
that one's a Ibe, and then that's a Fender acoustic back there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Cool.
which I actually just played a show with that, and
Yeah.
the first time ever playing an acoustic bass. And
Oh
I'll tell
really?
you, an acoustic bass is harder to play
I
than a
know.
regular bass, probably like a guitar, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah. You got something going on similar to that. I got my living room has 15 guitars around the whole room. It's all decorated like the Beatles or something in my my living room, you know what I mean? But my wife, she don't care. She's like, no, I think it's cool. It's kind of like art. I'm like, right on.
yeah. Mine are in here because my wife won't let me have them downstairs. I've got more over here on the wall too, but I do have one acoustic downstairs on the stand in the living room, but that's it. But all right, man. Well, listen, stick around for a minute, okay? And
Yeah.
best of luck to you.
Awesome.